So I'm sure everyone's heard of the recent release of Halo Campaign Evolved, a game where I have been asking myself since the first moment that I heard of it, why in the hell does this exist? Like honestly, why does this game exist? Why did Halo Campaign Evolve need to be made in the first place? Like the original Halo Combat Evolved has been around since 2001, and most people have probably experienced the game at some point in their lives. I've experienced it when I was younger. I now full disclosure, I never completed the original Halo Combat Evolved way back in the day. I think I played the campaign up to a certain point, and I just didn't play the rest of the campaign. I was pretty big on playing the multiplayer. Basically, back when I was in high school, I remember Halo Combat Evolved, the standalone version on PC. You could easily get that game running on one of the shitty Dell computers they had in my school's library. I think we were also able to get it to run on those ThinkPad laptops, like way back in the day, way before they were issuing ThinkPad laptops to kids in school, like they do these days. Where like I know there's some school districts that are issuing ThinkPads like to everybody. Back when I was in school, they weren't being issued out there. We were still getting physical textbooks. The ThinkPad laptops were brought out for specific moments during specific classes. And I think that was when I was in high school when that was starting to be a thing. But we, in our spare time, when we didn't have anything to do, some of us figured out how to get games working on these things, and Halo Combat Evolved, I think, was one of them. I know I was able to get Call of Duty 1 working on one of those laptops. I mean, they're not difficult games to run. They're very fucking old. I mean, COD 1, 2003, Halo Combat Evolved 2001. I mean, obviously, like, Halo Combat Evolved 2001, like, these are pretty easy games to run. And nowadays, in 2026... they're even easier to run. I mean, most modern hardware can easily run the game without a problem. And then to add to that, the game was re-released on Steam through the Halo Master Chief Collection, which, if you're someone who's been on Xbox since the original Xbox days, you've experienced Halo Combat Evolved on the original Xbox, or you experienced it on Xbox 360 via backwards compatibility with the original Xbox, or since Microsoft, one of the few good things I can say about Microsoft when it comes to gaming is that their big thing for backwards compatibility is also available on Xbox One and Xbox Series X. So anyone who's been playing on Xbox, if you've ever owned a Microsoft console at some point in your life, you have experienced a Halo game. Halo Combat Evolved, you had to have experienced it at some point. Even on PC, you've experienced it. The only audience that can really say they didn't truly experience Combat Evolved would be the PlayStation audience. If they've never touched a PC or were ever curious about Halo, because Halo Combat Evolved standalone is a really easy game to get your hands on, like through certain 7 Cs methods. I mean, if you want to get it legitimately, you can also get it on Steam. It's not that expensive. I mean, the game itself right now is $39.99 on Steam. The Master Chief Collection. Like, 6 Halo games, if I recall. Yeah. 6 Halo games. All there. For $39.99. Halo Campaign Evolved, $49.99. Why in the hell would you buy Campaign Evolved when you could just get the MCC? Like, yeah, the only downside of the MCC on Steam is you gotta sit in front of your PC for several hours because the Microsoft servers suck balls and take forever to install each individual Halo, but once you get past that little issue, the games run smoothly. They're great. Halo Combat Evolved on PC through MCC also comes with the anniversary graphics, which you just have to press the tab button, and you can swap between the OG graphics, which are my personal preference, and the newer graphics, which, you know, if you're of the younger audiences, this might be more to your liking. Or if you're someone who values graphics above all, then, well, play with the anniversary graphics. Again, I prefer the OG graphics. That's how I grew up remembering Halo Combat Evolved since I was a kid. But no, seeing footage of Campaign Evolved, I genuinely have come to the conclusion that the gaming industry these days is so creatively bankrupt and so just money hungry to the point where we're remaking games that really don't need to be remade, that have been given proper remasters that have actually, showed full respect to the source material compared to whatever the fuck Campaign Evolved was doing. Now, look, I'm not going to call myself some ultra diehard Halo fan. I respect Halo. It's a phenomenal series. It's a very important series in the gaming industry. Anyone who calls themselves a gamer knows how important Halo is. This is a series that has been incredible. Like, it's hard to state the importance and the impact that this series has had on the industry, and the amount of impact that Combat Evolved had when it came out. I mean, I would say Combat Evolved, Halo 2, and Halo 3. That trilogy of Halo games have done so much good for the industry since they came out. Their impact is still felt to this day. I mean, hell, we got Campaign Evolved. We can definitely tell Halo is still influential in 2026. That being said, the people making Halo these days don't seem to really care for Halo. Like I said, I'm someone who doesn't describe themselves as a major Halo fan. I was a COD fanboy growing up. Okay, I like, military shooters. Battlefield, I'm kind of meh about. I don't hate it. I don't like it. It's okay. I respect it. There's people who are way bigger Battlefield fans out there. I would 100% say I'm a COD fan. I fucking love Call of Duty, which is why I fucking hate what Call of Duty is these days. So I'm sure a Halo fan, if it's bad for a COD fan, it's probably way worse or up to par with Call of Duty. I don't know how I would put it. I mean, Call of Duty has gone down the greed train over the past couple of entries, and Halo has, well, gone so far down the drain now that basically it's 343 or Halo Studios now, same damn studio, just with a shitty rebrand. It's basically putting sprinkles on a turd. I mean, it still smells like shit. It's literally shit. You just put some sprinkles and, sparkly stuff on it to make it look pretty. But that sparkly stuff and sprinkles is not going to make the turd look any better. It's still a turd. It still smells like shit because it is shit. That's 343/Halo Studios. And unfortunately, because of the gaming industry's whole thing where they don't want to take actual risks and make new IPs or make something that's unique and brand new for, younger generations to look back on and say, wow, we actually had some amazing games growing up, like we did back in my day. Instead, the gaming industry and shareholders and, the big money people in the industry feel the need to not really take, risks and want to play it safe. Now, I personally don't think playing it safe is a good idea, as we saw with a game like BO7 and as we're seeing right now with Campaign Evolved. It is a game that, in my honest opinion, feels beyond artificial. Like, at its core, it's still Halo Combat Evolved. It's the game that all of us who played it know full well. The story, for the most part, is still exactly how it was. Now, the problems come in the form of some of the strange changes that 343 decided to do with this game, like adding unnecessary cutscenes where the game didn't need cutscenes, spoiling parts of the story that didn't need to be, spoken of until, the original game the story would be shown to you as you played the game. Yeah, there was a cutscene here and there, but the game wasn't spoiling what was going on through the cutscenes. From what I remember hearing and seeing, Campaign Evolved seems to do that with its cutscenes. On top of all that, like I said before, adding unnecessary cutscenes that weren't in the original game, that do not belong in any way, shape, and form to the story of Combat Evolved. Like, in particular, the female ODST that was added, that was, like, people would say, oh, you're sexist because you don't support having a strong, independent women in gaming. Look, this is just stupid. Like, why on earth do we need this character in the game when she wasn't in the original game, and she adds nothing? In fact, if anything, it fucks up the lore of Halo. From what I recall reading, many deep diehard fans of the series have straight up mentioned it. This is unnecessary. Like, you have the formula for Combat Evolved already there. You have everything all set up. I think I saw a video earlier today where one dude mentioned, how on earth are you given the answers to the test and yet you still fail at copying the test word for word? Like, how are you given the blueprint to make Halo Combat Evolved and you still fail at doing it? Like, what the fuck is going on here? Like 343, since Halo 4 has shown that they're not very good at making Halo, and to my understanding, they don't really seem to like making Halo. Now, honestly, when people say, "Oh, the original Halo devs," because I know a dev for Halo 3 was mocking the pointlessly added female ODST character to the game that contributes nothing to the lore or to the story whatsoever. Like, yeah, he has every right to make fun of it and laugh at it and joke about it because you worked on Halo 3, even if you weren't a big dev in the original Bungie Halos, you still can say that your Halos are significantly better than anything that 343 has put out over the past couple of years since Halo 4. Like these are the people who understood what the game was. These were guys who had an idea in mind. They were passionate about this idea. They understood what Halo was. They were making a game for the fans, not a game for the investors, not a game for the shareholders, not a game for themselves, for the fans. Well, I mean, to be fair, they themselves are the fans as well. When people say, well, the current devs are making a game for themselves, what they mean by that is that they're not making a game that gamers want to play, that gamers will like. They're making a game that fits their narrative or their views on what the game is essentially supposed to be, instead of satisfying the needs of what Halo fans want in a game. Like I said, I personally, if I were a game developer, I would not put myself in charge of something like Halo. I don't hate Halo. I think I'd probably do it justice myself, but I don't think I'm someone who'd be perfectly fit to make a game like Halo, because I'm not someone who's ultra deep into the lore and ultra deep into this game. I've played Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3, Halo Reach, and Halo 3 ODST. I haven't really played through Halo 4 in the MCC. I played a little bit of Halo Wars, so I guess I'm more qualified to make a Halo game than 343's current devs, I guess. But again, I wouldn't put myself for that. I would put myself more to make a Call of Duty game, because I fucking love Call of Duty, and I personally feel that Call of Duty is missing certain things that would work well for me. But then again, the problem is that, well, Call of Duty has its own fair share of issues that are way different from Halo's, but it's still issues nonetheless. Halo's issues, on the other hand, are it's a game where the playbook has already been set ages ago. The modern devs for the game just don't care about it. Like, they have the playbook, they take it, they look at it, and they say, no, we don't like that. We're gonna do our own thing here. Like, no, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, if you were going to do that with Combat Evolved, then why bother making Campaign Evolved? I know Microsoft is trying to appeal to their shareholders and make back a lot of the profits that they lost when they invested all that money in BO7's failed, release. But, like, this is so just pointless. The game was not going to sell well. It didn't sell well at all on Steam. I can't imagine it sold well on Xbox Series X either. The only platform Halo Campaign Evolved sold well on was PS5. Go figure. The one audience that never experienced Halo is enjoying Halo. But it's kind of shitty that their first experience, that PlayStation fanboys' first experience with Halo, is Campaign Evolved. Like, honestly, if that's your first experience with Halo, my guy, just do yourself a favor. Just get your computer, your computer running Windows 11. Just sail the 7 seas for a copy of Halo Combat Evolved. It's not hard to find it. I'm pretty sure you could easily find it anywhere on the internet these days. Download that. Of course, you got to make sure that the exe is safe to run, because sometimes sailing the 7 seas for games can have some risks because you're dealing with exe files. But if you manage to find a good copy of Halo Combat Evolved, install that bad boy, run that shit, make sure you've done any sort of tweaking that you need to do to get it to work well with Windows 11 and your PC or laptop's hardware, whatever, and boom, play the game for yourself. Hell, run it on Linux. I think it should be able to run well on Linux. I might be wrong on that, but for the most part, most things can run on Linux as long as there's no annoying anti-cheat in the way. So you can do that if you're worried about the exe file not being 100% too good to use. There's ways to play Halo Combat Evolved. Like, play that instead. Do not play Halo Campaign Evolved. I'm going to be very honest with you. The game is a slap in the face to real Halo fans, and I feel for them. This game is so unnecessary. The decisions that were done, for the game's writing, unnecessary. Some of the gameplay elements were also unnecessary, such as dumbing down like the game to the point where it's almost like the developers think that the players are like brain dead morons who can't seem to comprehend what's going on screen. Like, for example, the one part of Halo Campaign Evolved where there's like Invisible Covenant, and the game just highlights where the Covenant are standing. I don't know what the fuck was the point of doing that when they're supposed to be invisible. You obviously, as the player, like, they're invisible, yes, but their cloaking devices, have a sort of warpy thing that goes on when it comes to the surrounding area. Like, if you've played the original Combat Evolved or any Halo where there's any sort of enemies that are using their cloaking devices, you can at least tell where they are when you look at them and you see that there's some weird distortion going on with the graphics. That's the enemy, cloaking themselves. But for some reason, Campaign Evolved felt the need to highlight these enemies, defeating the purpose of making them invisible in the first place. Another thing is, for the Needler, putting an ammo counter on the gun itself. I don't know why you need to do that, when you could easily tell from how many needles are coming out of the gun, how much ammo is still left. And even then, Halo was kind enough to tell you on your HUD, how much you had left. If I recall correctly, yeah, it would tell you at least how much you had left just in case. But even then, you didn't need to put another ammo counter on the gun itself. That's fucking stupid. Also, the fact that Campaign Evolved feels the need to say press right trigger or R2 if you're playing on the PS5, or left mouse to fire. What the hell is the point of telling me what button to press to fire? I'm pretty sure if you've played any shooter, whether it's first or third person, for fuck's sake, if you played Fortnite, I'm pretty sure it's pretty easy to tell that right trigger, R2, or mouse 1 or left mouse are the buttons that you would press to fucking fire your gun. It's so unnecessarily stupid why they added this to Campaign Evolved. Like, that, on top of the fact that all the other dumb changes that they added, if I remember correctly, another player complained about the game's weird feature that they added to combat stick drift, because Microsoft is aware that stick drift is an issue, which I get adding this, but they didn't. There's a stick drift sort of like thing that Campaign Evolved has that doesn't function fully, like it's supposed to. So if you have a normal controller and your sticks are not having any sort of drift, the game will just fuck up your aim badly because it thinks that drift is happening, even though drift isn't happening. If you just slightly tilt your analog stick in one direction slowly, like it seems to think it's drifting and just sort of fucks up the aim as you're trying to move around. I don't know why they didn't give the option to turn that off in the settings. Like, you should be able to turn it on and off. Like, if your controller does have genuine drift, you can, go in the settings and turn it on. If your controller doesn't have that issue, or, just you should be able to turn that shit off. Like, why is this so difficult to do? The only nice thing I can give Campaign Evolved from what I've seen is the graphics. That's about it. Like, the dirt, fucking gorgeous. That is some gorgeous dirt. Gorgeous dirt graphics. The way the tracks just look when you're driving through dirt or sand, it looks beautiful. It looks like genuine dirt or sand, and how, physics would work when you're driving over dirt or sand. The lighting is good. The water is kind of in terms of physics. Like, I remember a lot of people complaining about how when you're driving on water, you're supposed to slow down slightly because you're driving on water, but it doesn't do that in Campaign Evolved for some strange reason. Also, another pet peeve of mine is the fact that when you're transitioning between the driver's seat and the mounted gun on the back, it just instantly switches over. Like, there's no animation like in the original Combat Evolved. I don't know why. If a game from 2001 paid that much attention to detail, and a game from 2026 couldn't even be bothered to do that, that's bad. That is really fucking bad. Like, that is some lazy shit. I don't know, like, if the devs just got lazy and didn't want to program the animation for switching seats in vehicles, but, I don't know why they didn't bother actually animating that in the game. The original had it. Like, you're playing what I would consider a watered down product. Like, it's still on the surface, it's Halo Combat Evolved, but then when you actually, experience the game or see footage of it, you're like, something's not right. Something doesn't, the wires ain't doing their thing here with this game. Something ain't right. And that's what I'm noticing when I look at footage of the game. Now, if you're asking me, oh, are you going to buy Halo Campaign Evolved? Of course, the fuck not. I'm not going to buy this game. You really think I'm going to drop $49.99 for Combat Evolved when I could literally get Combat Evolved in the MCC? In fact, I have the MCC on Steam. I've beaten Halo Combat Evolved on Steam. That was the first time. When I got MCC, that is when I fully played through the campaign for the first time ever. Even though I've already seen several videos of how the campaign goes and I kind of spoiled it for myself ages ago, I still want to experience it for myself, to say to myself, I experienced Combat Evolved myself. Phenomenal game. That was years ago. But seeing Campaign Evolved, I'm like, there was no point in making this. This is one of the most creatively bankrupt, just greedy decisions I've ever seen from the gaming industry. You took a team of devs like 343 who don't really seem to give a shit about Halo and had them working on Halo for the past couple Halos now since Halo 4. The only good Halo that they put out was the MCC, and the MCC is a compilation of Halos that were made by Bungie. Just mashed together by 343 into a, convenient package where you could just transition between each game from one menu. Like, it's like the orange box on consoles. Just transition between these different games that are all on one disc. Or I guess all on one file if you downloaded the game onto your console or PC. Like, they have nothing to show, for what they've been able to achieve with Halo. And everything that they have been able to achieve with Halo, a lot of people do not like. Like, honestly, I get that Halo is Microsoft's, like, big IP. It's pretty much their only big IP that they have. Like, look, I've played Forza myself. I like Forza, but not everybody on Earth is going to say, wow, Forza had such an insane impact on the gaming industry, and it's Microsoft's most iconic IP. No, when anybody thinks about Microsoft video games, or Xbox in general, the very first symbol of these systems that should come to mind is Master Chief and Halo. Like, Master Chief, the Halo ring, the theme song, Cortana. These things are what should come to mind when you think of Xbox and video games, or at least first-party titles on Xbox. That is the big thing that comes to everyone's mind. Now, unfortunately, in 2026, 343 has shown that they can't make a good Halo game to save their lives at this point. Just, if that's the case, either give Halo to somebody who will actually do the series justice, which in 2026 it's kind of hard to find anyone who might be able to do justice for this series at this point. Or, just let go of Halo, fam. Like, what are we doing, Microsoft? Just let go of it. Like, it's so pointless to keep working on this series. Like, if this is what Halo is going to come to, and from what I hear, supposedly they're going to do the same shit that they did with Combat Evolved to Halo 2 and Halo 3, because for some reason 343 just wants to rewrite Halo from, being the classic Bungie-made games that they used to be to now being these weird, modernized, games that nobody asked for, where we still have access to the original titles. Like, and to the devs that make these games and feel the need to make unnecessary changes, like replacing the one pilot on the Pillar of Autumn at the beginning of the game with a random black woman that wasn't there in the original game, which, from further context, the original NPC pilot in the Pillar of Autumn in that beginning cutscene was using the face model of an actual dev from the original game. So that was not only was that just a pointless change, it was also a change that I don't think 343 meant to, change an original Bungie dev's face and just swap him out with some generic black woman. I guarantee you, like, they didn't actually know who the hell this NPC was modeled after. But it just rubs anyone the wrong way when you realize that, yeah, Bungie did way better at Halo. 343 fucking sucks at making these games. Like, please stop making Halo. Like, Microsoft, just stop having 343 make Halo games. Like, better yet, just stop making Halo. If you are going to divert all your assets for making Halo games to 343 or Halo Studios, what the fuck they're called now, like, just knock it off at this point. Just, hey, I think Halo's run its course. Nobody's gonna be able to do justice for this series anymore at Microsoft. Just let the game just die off. Like, just do what Saints Row ended up having to do. Saints Row was doing so well for so many years, and then the game started, plummeting a little bit with Agents of Mayhem. And then, that wasn't the complete downfall of Saints Row. I would say the complete downfall was Saints Row 2022. And I've played Saints Row 2022. I've played that game myself on Steam. I mean, hell, like, I've done everything possible in Saints Row 2022. And I will genuinely say, that game, as a Saints Row game, it is the worst fucking Saints Row game I ever played. I can fully tell why the series died with this game. Everything that made that series, iconic and well-respected among people who played the series and enjoyed it, like yours truly, it's just gone with Saints Row 22. It's just not 2022. It's just not there. It's like a game that was having an identity crisis throughout its entire development. That's the same case that I'm seeing with Halo. It's a game that has an identity crisis. It's a game that doesn't know what it wants to be. The devs don't seem to like the game. There may be one or two devs that seem to actually like Halo, but their voices get their voices get overshadowed by all the voices that don't give a shit about Halo. You have Microsoft making companies like 343, just all these devs who have talent for making games, but you're making them make a game that they don't want to make. And then when they release the final, product out to us, the consumer, the customer, the gamer, we see this when we've played the original Halo, and we easily can compare it to the original and say, no, this sucks. There's no life in this. Like, it's literally just a bunch of like fancy Unreal Engine 5 assets just, made in-house at 343 and just slapped together. Like, it looks like Halo. I guess it kind of feels like Halo, but it's not Halo. Like, it's like it's wearing the skin of Halo on top of itself, and it's pretending to be Halo. It's like it's cosplaying Halo, and it's doing a pretty shitty job of it. Like, it's not even like a cosplay where you're like, damn, bro, that looks almost 1-to-1 with the original. It's like oh shit. It's like the best comparison I could say is like Michael Jackson impersonators versus the original the original King of Pop himself. Like anyone who has heard the King of Pop or has, at least seen footage of Michael Jackson himself, you're like, that's Michael Jackson. That's what we know. The impersonators, I get that they do what they do because they're able to imitate Michael Jackson, but it's not the same. You're just pretending to be Michael Jackson. You are not Michael Jackson. That's what I see here with Campaign Evolved. You are not Halo Combat Evolved. You are pretending to be Combat Evolved. You're wearing the skin of the original game on top, and you are failing at it. You are not the original. You will never be the original. And you're not even doing a good job of emulating the original. Like, just stop making games like this, Microsoft. Like, if 343 doesn't seem to be able to do it justice, just have 343 make something else entirely. Let the devs figure out what kind of new IP they want to make. But unfortunately, we live in an age where there's so much money in the gaming industry because of all the big money that's poured into this industry that the shareholders are not going to let, 343 make whatever the hell they want to make. And that is quite depressing, actually. I think the devs should be able to, build like a grassroots game from within their offices, pitch it over to the higher-ups, and then the higher-ups pitch it over to the shareholders, and then, the shareholders decide if they want to invest in that or not, which I think they should, because it's worth taking a risk on a game that, on a new IP. That was the case with Stellar Blade. New IP, investors and shareholders, took a risk on going with it, and it did pretty well, especially when it came onto the PC. So we should start doing that in the industry instead of going with the safe bets of games like Campaign Evolved or Black Ops 7, games that ended up flopping so fucking badly that they ended up just costing millions of dollars that will pretty much be pretty difficult to make back, over the span of a couple of years. It's going to take some time to make all that money back. Was it really worth investing, in something like that? Was it? Because from what I'm seeing, I'm not seeing that at all. It's honestly sad. I really wish that the gaming industry, finally takes a good look at itself and decides to actually make something new, something unique, something that, instead of just remaking or reusing old games from back in my childhood and trying to re-release them again because they can't make anything brand new. It's just a sign of just creative bankruptcy in the industry these days. Like, you wish that they would make something new, something unique for younger generations in particular. We have so many younger gamers these days who are growing up with fucking Roblox of all things. To them, this is considered like the big IP of when they were younger. This is the game that like a 10-year-old today is gonna look back 10 years from now when they're 20 and be like, ah, yes, Roblox was the greatest thing I ever played in my life. And that's kind of sad as someone who's 29 who grew up with so many unique IPs back in his childhood. Halo, the old Call of Duties, Ratchet and Clank, Jack and Daxter even, or fucking, the old Forza Motorsport, Gran Turismo, back when Gran Turismo was at its absolute peak. The old Need for Speed games, things like that. These were IPs that we grew up on, that we found insanely unique. Shadow of the Colossus, another amazing IP. These were games that we grew up in where we could look back and say, damn, we had a lot of brand new IPs that were insanely phenomenal back in our days, and nowadays there's no new insanely cool IPs. Everything is just sequels of old IPs or remasters or remakes of old games from IPs that have been around for an insanely long period of time. Like, what do the younger audiences have to look forward to? Just more Roblox. That's why games like that get all the attention. Like that, like the younger audiences, that's all that they have available that really matters to them, and it's honestly sad. It's quite a depressing thing to see as a gamer who's been, big in this industry, who's been following this industry, who's been passionate about this since he was a kid. Like, for me, before I ever got into anime, before I ever got into comics or even sports, I was into video games for as long as I can recall in my life. And I just hate seeing this shit. Like, and to anyone who says, "Oh, well, you just don't like Campaign Evolved because you're a chud and you're a bigot or you're a sexist," shut the fuck up. Like, you do not understand this industry at all. Like, I think I remember one person once said, it's basically what happens when you take all the nerds and the big and the huge gamer nerds and comic nerds and all that, all of us who were considered, huge nerds when we were in school. We were the ones who were enjoying games. The games were made for audiences like us. When the theater kids who wanted all the attention and all the social awareness bullshit that they're on about being the center of attention, when they started getting into the industry and it started getting more and more mainstream, that's when I would argue things started going down the drain. When they started, making games for themselves, which, I mean, if they want to make games for themselves, by all means, this is a creative platform. You can make your socially aware game or your, theater kid-friendly game, like your shitty mixtape type game, and, you can make something like that. But please, for the love of God, stop taking classic IPs from us, the original, the people who've been who've been loyal to this for years, who grew up on these old IPs. Stop taking these beloved IPs and ruining them. Like, please, like, if you can't make anything unique, then get the fuck out of the industry. Like stop LARPing as gamers and just admit that you suck at making anything unique. And if you can make something unique, like break free from the cycle and, make something that you honestly feel proud of, that you think people will play. And if it doesn't do well, I mean, evaluate the criticism that you get and see, what you need to do right. But stop making trash. It's just tiring at this point. I mean, good for my wallet, I guess, because I'm definitely not fucking buying Campaign Evolved. But from a moral standpoint, it just feels shitty. You know what I mean? Halo Campaign Evolved is probably the perfect example of the decay of the gaming industry. And honestly, I as much as I hate saying it, I kind of look forward to the second crash that everybody always keeps talking about, that one day we'll get the second video game crash. Lord knows when the hell that'll happen, but whenever it finally does happen, I kind of do look forward to it, because maybe the industry will finally take the opportunity to reevaluate every dumb decision it made since around, I would say, 2015, 2016. Look back at these bad decisions and say, you know what, maybe we should steer this thing around and do something different. So like how we used to do it back in the old days. I mean, if all that failed, might as well go back to how it was before. And back when we were making games that we were passionate and proud of, and games that people wanted to play, games for nerds, by nerds, made entirely for just nerd audiences. That's what the gaming industry is supposed to always have been. It should have stayed like that. That's why I have respect for animes that don't bother, catering towards the new audiences or the modern audience. Like, anime is anime. It wants to do what it wants to do. Nobody can tell it otherwise what it should and shouldn't change. Like, this is something that is made by the artists over in Japan. This is also, part of, their whole culture. This is their whole thing. They know their audience better than anybody else, and no outsider is gonna come in and tell them what they can and can't do right, or what they can and can't do anymore. Like, just let them be and let them do what they want to make. Same thing with the gaming industry. Stop, coming into the industry and bringing your ridiculous new views on how things should be done. No, we've been doing it like this for ages. It's been working really well. If you want to join us, and make stuff that we all are gonna like, great. If you're not gonna do that and you're gonna do your own thing because you think that other people that are not remotely interested in this are going to enjoy that, and they're gonna come in because you made something for them, but no, you didn't make something for the general gamer, no, you're just gonna fuck everything up. Anyways, that's my little ramble about about Campaign Evolved and just the decay of the gaming industry these days. I hope you enjoyed this one. I will see y'all next time. Peace.